biracial face on there. Biracial angel. All right, guys, we are back. Welcome to the Ready, Set, Blow podcast, episode 336. My man, Duval Culpepper, back on the show, back from his travels.
I think the last time I did this, I was in a bathroom at my friend's office.
You were.
Yeah.
And it was COVID times.
Yeah, it was the dark. It was like peak COVID times. Everyone. I
remember the shower curtain. It was.
Yeah.
What was wild?
I don't know. I was in a different state of mind then. I was like really trying to make that work.
But to be fair, I mean, like even newscasters, like you could see into like their shitty kids' room where they would set up their home office.
Everyone got
pandemic.
so fucking casual. Like the second they said work from home, like you would think at the higher levels they'd be like, well, no, we'll still maintain decorum and like pretend we give a fuck. But the second they said no, they're like,
well, how many guys got caught whacking off? Because they didn't know the camera was on.
I'm curious to see that statistic because I feel like probably
a lot, dude. A lot of
half
guys.
of white collar jobs were lost to jacking off.
I mean, how fucking dumb can you be though? Like, even when I masturbate privately, I make sure the fucking camera's blocked. I got one of those little camera covers.
I'll put the laptop in a different room. Just
what do you just jerk off with the Sears catalog?
Yeah, no, I do Professor X. I summon like the 4 times I've hooked up with a hot girl in my life, and that's my spank bank.
You go old school?
Yeah. I read Jane Eyre. Is that funny?
You read Charlotte's Web?
Yeah, that's what I do. Yeah, Animal Farm. Yeah, dude.
Dude, so you're in your 30s, right?
36.
All right, so looking like I told him when he walked in, like a young Lenny Kravitz.
Trying. I don't feel it, man. As a matter of fact, I have 2 heat pads on my shoulder right now because I feel
I
those
actually
fucking
just went today to the chiropractor for the first time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, man.
Oh, you just how old are you?
I'm 30. I'll be 40 in May.
All right, cool.
It's creeping up
I feel like we're in a good. Well, here's the problem. COVID robbed us of our 30s. I feel like, because just when I was like, but I feel like I was just coming into like, okay, yeah, making a little money. I know how to like operate. Like I've worked on some of my issues, and then COVID came, and it was just like, nah, like pause. And then now I'm just like decrepit and old now. And, like,
it is 2 lost years.
Yeah,
I feel bad for all the young ladies out there, you know, because they're gonna know OnlyFans at its peak,
right?
But their money's gonna go down. I mean,
so you're saying there's a high competitive market now?
Yeah,
right.
People got put onto it. So if you're coming late to the OnlyFans game, there's a lot less money in the pool for you.
Yeah. Do you
I was going to ask you, do you fuck with OnlyFans?
No, you said trans. Yeah. OnlyFans. I don't think I've heard of that site. Will you tell me about it again?
No, I subscribed to one page once because I got a free subscription because, do you know Nathan Lowe?
Yeah.
The funny comic guy.
Yeah.
I was hanging out at his place, and his upstairs neighbors were 2 girls, and one of them had an OnlyFans account. And we were just hanging out like on their front patio drinking, and they came down. We were bullshitting with them, and one of them wanted. I was going to go to the store get more beer, and one of them wanted some Cool Ranch Doritos and a Gatorade. And I was like, I'll grab that for you. And she's like, okay. But I was like, but
for a price.
Yeah, but for a price.
Yeah. Does she have like a QR code that you scan?
Yeah,
like
I got a month free, a tattooed on her leg.
Yeah, on her leg, on the tramp stamp on the back. She's like, turn around, let me just get that.
That's how strippers are doing it now.
It's modern. Yeah.
Strippers take Bitcoin.
Yeah.
No, so I was like, yeah, I'll do that. So they gave me a 30-day free trial to her page.
Did you continue, or you were like, that's enough?
No.
Well, that's the problem.
But the account's still out there. I still have the account sitting out there. Because you didn't delete it. It was a free. So just
gotcha.
Yeah, it's like having a TikTok with 1 follower. It's like my TikTok.
Yeah, exactly. But then they get you with the recurring. Anyway, right after
they get you,
they get me. I get got a lot on the OnlyFans. But I only just like it's just like after you beat off, you're like, I didn't need to spend $14.99 to see this fine young lady's arch of her foot or whatever. Yeah. They're always weirdly specific. Like there's not just like.
See, that's how I think. That's why I think it works. Is like when it first came around, I was like, why the fuck would any guy buy OnlyFans? You got free hardcore porn.
Yeah.
And the girls are hot.
But the Pornhub's got like real like ad.
Well, I think what it is there's that creepy factor, the voyeur factor to it, right? If you're into feet, they have the feet page.
Yeah.
If you're into this or that, they got that page that's like very specific. And then also there's like the voyeurism. It comes in like, I want to see my wife's neighbor's pussy.
Right.
Like I don't want to see some girl on the internet who does a pro. I want to see an amateur. Yeah. I want to see the girl down the block, the hot barista.
100%. And I've never been like porn star. Like I got a buddy who's like always like hanging out and like chasing porn stars in LA.
You ever hook up with a porn star?
Not to my knowledge, but like, but I don't know. But then some of these more
not willingly,
but some of these more organic, shall we say, women out there. They may have been a porn star. I just didn't know it. You hang out at like 4100 in Silver Lake, and like you don't realize that they've got a full-time OnlyFans. So.
Yeah, it's funny. I have a couple of longtime followers that followed me like before the pandemic. Even some of them, like 2 or 3 of them, women. over the pandemic got into it, and I think 2 of them now are professional. If I told you their names, you'd know who they are. And they were like fans of mine, and I was
sure.
So they were, because they had like a small growing account. And this is back when I had less than 10,000 followers.
Yeah.
So I was like, somebody who's got 12,000 following, great.
Yeah.
So they repost my stuff, and I thanked them. So I had a little thank you going back and forth. But since they took their OnlyFans from the pandemic and turned it into like a legitimate
$40,000 a month. I'm seeing from these.
Oh
people.
yeah,
no,
yeah.
just
Easily.
like
I would bet one of them's making more than that. She's
easily.
getting pretty high up there in the porn game.
Comedy hasn't gotten that bad for me, but one of these days, I'm sure.
I don't think anyone wants to. No, dude, even girls that I've dated, even the fucking woman I was supposed to marry wouldn't want to pay to see me naked.
Right. I still don't understand why girls like guys in the first place.
Well, I'm with you on that. I think most of the guys that make money on OnLifans are from other dudes buying.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly.
I mean, I would say maybe 10% of the people who purchase OnlyFans are women looking at men.
Well,
the rest of them are men looking at chicks or men looking at men.
Right. Exactly. What am I doing? Put on a bow tie and be like a Chippendales? Like I don't have any like sexy, like I would have an antiquated like 90s 80s version of sexuality and shit.
I mean, you are rocking the Mr. Rogers sweater. It's fancy. It is definitely the good looking Mr. Like you pull it off.
The good looking Mr. Rogers.
Well, I'm saying like the the stylish.
Yeah.
Because I know that the cardigan came in for a second. You got that plush one.
Yeah. I just want to be comfortable in my 30s.
How do I look cool? I never.
You got it. You got to pull one down a bit, or like no undershirt.
Pulling down a bit.
Yeah. You just got everything. Well, look,
scars on my neck from fucking. I did cupping today in my chiropractor.
Oh, really?
I got all sorts of bruises.
Very modern. I like that.
Well, I mean, he did it without my knowledge. I was like, hey, my neck hurts. We walked through the problems. Like, I'll give you a treatment. And then he did a bunch of shit. And I just said, whatever you want to do.
That is, they do. I'm very particular about where I go. But no, like, look, I grew up without a dad, so like my model of masculinity just comes from like 80s action shows. So I'm just.
Is your father the black one?
They're both black.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and well, Puerto Rican and West Indies, so like Antigua and Puerto Rico,
brown.
Brown.
Okay,
people brown. Well, it bothers me.
I know light skin was out for a minute, so I thought you were biracial.
But
I guess you are biracial.
I've been fighting this war but technically though, but I'm not. I'm black, and I'm walking around Harlem. I'm black, but like white people.
I mean, you walk around anywhere, you're black,
right? And I learned that in my travels. When I was in, you go below the Mason-Dixon line, like you a nigga to anybody. You know what I mean? It's like. But no, white people get to be like, I'm French and Dutch and Irish, and it's like
so
white.
corny.
It's white, you know. But if I'm like a little bit Puerto Rican, they're like, whoa, what does that mean? You know, it's like
I always say, I feel like times obviously we've progressed a lot, but I do think there is something to having white people hate other white people. Back in the, I remember in the 80s, like the Italians and the Irish, there was like inter-white racism.
Yeah,
I think we need to bring that back.
I forgot.
I want the Polish to hate the Germans. I want there to be inter-white problems.
Yes, I forgot we met in Boston. I remember like we would do those mics and shit, and it would be like 1890s racism amongst the comics and stuff. That is like, yes, the Italians with their silken suits and oiled hairs. I'm like, fucking year is this?
Your olive oil skin and your guinea charm.
Yeah, exactly. They were having like gangs of New York like battles at the mics and shit. I'm like, what fuck? And they weren't even worried about black people because like they were like, we'll get to you.
That's one of my favorite things about Boston is that it was like it somehow still had a very heavy racial element, even though it was a majority white city, well past the 70s. Like that's like when New York was like in the 70s and 80s. Now it's more cosmopolitan. Boston is still like there's still trashy white people in the inner city. Like most cities. Like all the poor white people left.
Yeah.
They're poor and white in the suburbs. You know what I mean?
You got white gentrified in Boston.
That's what I'm saying. Like Southie is still just housing projects full of poor white people.
Right.
You don't see that anymore in New York.
No. You got to look for poor white people in New York City. Like like they have a tour bus that like takes you to upstate New York and Rochester.
Yeah, they're poor in Scranton now.
Yeah. Everybody out. It's wild, man. Wait, did you grow up in Boston?
No, I grew up in New York, man, in Queens.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. How'd you make it out to Boston?
The girl I was supposed to marry, she was from up there, and I wanted to move out of New York, and I found a job, so we moved up there.
Oh, no shit.
I liked it, dude. I fucking enjoyed it.
Now, as an older person, like I appreciate sort of like the quaint, connected, like it's it's small town, good vibe. But I went to undergrad there and I fucking hated it because I was in New York.
Emerson or
I went to Emerson and I was like straight out of New York City. I thought every city was like New York, and I got there and they're just like, oh, fucking Derek Jeter kid. Oh, you like fucking? I was like, I don't even like baseball. And then I'm like getting into a fight with like eight.
That's an expectation because like even Jeff Dye said this once to Don Zolo because it was his first time headlining in Boston.
Yeah.
And it's fucking like game 4 of the ALCS and they're playing the Yankees.
Yeah.
And Thursday night and Jeff's like Don's like, I don't know, Jeff, it's Sox are on. attendance is going to be light.
Yeah.
And Jeff's like, oh, don't worry, man. Because he's just coming off MTV, right? I was like, oh, most of my fans are chicks and gay dudes.
Yeah.
And Don goes, no, dude, even the chicks and gay dudes like baseball out here. So they just assume, this guy must like baseball.
And sound like Mark Wahlberg. Yeah,
exactly.
That was always the trippiest thing. I'd be like talking to like a hot girl in Boston, and it would just be like, whoa, kid, hold on, kid, what are you talking about? Whoa, and like just the hottest girl who just had like,
it's so not sexy. It's very, it's like
my favorite accent is Wisconsin. Wisconsin's my favorite girl accent. It's just it's so weird and bizarre.
You like an extra white.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
You like the white devil. Your mom warned you about.
Oh yeah, my grandma actually. My mom never really cared about what I did. My grandma said, "Duval, remember, there's nothing worse than an ugly white woman. Go play." It's true. And coincidentally, all I date now.
You don't like them obese though.
I'll take whatever I can get. I like strong. I like athletic women a lot.
Yeah,
I was dating in Boston. I was dating like a CrossFitter, like really like just incredibly muscular, and I was like, I gotta get my shit together.
Yeah, when you date girls like that though, I like girls who are fit, but if they're too fit, then you like they're not gonna want to go out and drink with you. You know,
when it's a Ferrari, they're taking care of. Yeah, and they got to track their macros and shit.
Yeah, exactly. It's too much. Like you can't get high and just go to the movies. Like you gotta
ordering food.
You gotta go to the CrossFit box and you're at 45 class. You can't skip one. So
totally.
You go fuck.
Yeah, she made me, and I started to feel like a piece of shit because I was just like riding like my late 20s like boyish charm, and I was like, well, I don't need to like work out or like take care of my body.
You know what? To be fair, if you're not going to work out, that might as well be that's the last hurrah. Yeah, because your 30s, you better get on board. Or else, once you're like behind the 8 ball, it's hard to get back.
Oh yeah, trust me, I know. I said I had 2 heat pads on my shoulder right now. I'm like it's I don't know, man. It's crazy. Like I'm trying to like just figure out. I feel like I've done a lot of that like figuring shit out stuff now, but the world has changed so much now that it's like all those things that I learned and I'm trying to apply it to like this modern world, just in terms of like people and having fun and going out. It's just like,
well, I feel like the people went crazy.
People,
like I feel like I haven't changed. I feel like everyone around me went, like not my friend, but the society at large went nuts. Like the goalposts have moved so far, dude, all over the place. Like nobody knows what balls or strikes are anymore.
No,
like the rules change minute by minute. So you could be right today and wrong tomorrow.
Yeah, I genuinely am thinking on this. I'm like, am I just really like that like out of touch and diluted, or like is it probably that everyone has lost their mind? I think comics have done a good job at like, because we're just sociopaths in the first place and we're just going to be consistent, but like civilian normal people have developed like such like a, I used to just drive across country. I used to just drive across country all the time.
Which I was envious of. I like that in an old BMW.
It was cute. It looked cute. Looking back, I lost out on a lot.
So I bet you got it for a good price, but it looked good.
Oh, dude,
you know what I'm saying? That was probably a 20-year-old car, but you kept it mint, so it looked fucking fresh.
Yeah, why you just wash it and like change the oil? A car was amazing and stuff, and people are just like, "Whoa, he's got a vintage car." It's like, no, I have a $1,200 car, but that currently isn't valuable right now. Yeah. Exactly. But people are just like, I don't like. Everyone's gotten hyper vigilant. That's what it is. Like friends are like and girls and lovers are dating whatever. If like you have one shot now, there's no room for like, oh yeah, I don't know. I don't know doesn't work for people. Like we had this fear of COVID for like this long period of time, and now that's in our relationships now, where everyone's like, hey, are you gonna? Like there's no, you can't be a fuck up. I'm a fuck up. Yeah. You can't be one anymore.
That's I agree with you. That's like a broader problem, especially in dating though. You're right. Like the way it works now because of our phones and the dating apps, like it used to be, you dated the girls that you were around physically, right?
Yeah.
And those are your options.
Yeah.
So those are more limited than the entirety of the world that's on the internet and on your phone. So you used to put more effort in, and you were allowed to fuck up.
Yeah.
Because like, you know what? Like I can't just jettison this one because there's only so many left in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But now, I mean, Tinder, Hinge, you just got a stack of bitches. I mean, for lack of a better phrase. So it's like, oh, this one gave me even a hint of a problem.
Yeah.
I'll just there's another one right there.
Right, exactly.
Like, if there's any relationship issue, you can immediately say, it's not worth it.
But there's more of us on there, so women are taking that, understandably, they're taking that hard line, like, because like girls' profiles read like fucking affidavits now. They're like, if you didn't do this, swipe left. If you're not this, swipe left. Swipe left. Oh my god, what do I gotta fucking do? Because and the irony is, in my travels, like in Kentucky, a Tinder profile here is like, if you haven't thrown 3 Molotov cocktails at a Black Lives Matter protest, swipe left.
Oh my god.
And And then
sounds hot. Where do I sign up?
Yeah, like okay, like, and then but in Kentucky, it's just like just be a good man. You know, it's just like the expectation is so different, and it's because of this polarized politics.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. But also, your age. We're on 30. I'm in my late 30s. You're in your mid 30s. And
about that.
There's a lot. I mean, so you start dating older women, and and it's fine.
Yeah.
But sometimes I feel like their expectations are a little unreasonable. It's like you date a girl over 35, and her fucking in her Tinder or Hinge profile, it's I want a man. He has to be over 6'2",
right.
perfect credit, good teeth, full head of hair, job, house, money, a big dick, and what does she bring to the table? 2 kids from some other guy. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like, it's like, wait a minute, honey.
And then also make me laugh on the profile.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And like,
which I've always said. That's always what women always say first. Oh, that guy was funny. It's like, really, then why is the guy with the boat getting all the pussy?
Exactly.
Yeah, you know what's really attractive?
And probably says nothing. Just sits there and
millions of dollars. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
The guy who pulls up in the Bugatti tends to be the funniest guy in the room with those ladies.
He's a killer. Yeah. Guy murders. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Some tool who has bread.
It's I know, and it's like, and I'm like, so it's just like this like deep reckoning where I'm like, none of that old shit works anymore. And it's not like my game don't work or it's like that. It's just like who we all were is gone. And like the quicker you accept that how people used to like treat people and regard people is just out the window. And it's all about this hyper vetting. Are you 100% aligned with me in every possible manner? Because this made us think that's possible in real life, but it's not.
Yeah, wait, that's it's so bad that like, dude, I see that friends of mine that's like, oh, I'll never date a conservative, I'll never date a liberal. It's like, what are you talking about? Yeah. Like, you might like that person and just disagree on those. Like, you're never going to get.
And until 6.5 years ago, you probably did, but didn't know it because that shit didn't matter or come up in a conversation. Right.
Nobody cares.
Right.
I mean, like, dude, I've said before, if you find someone that they're 85% compatible with. You could turn that into a lifelong relationship with work. And you're never going to get 100.
Right.
Anything over 80,
we can.
Anything over 85 is worth the effort.
Totally.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's up to you to work it out. You're never going to get 100.
100%. I mean, I remember. That's why I wrote my book. I remember I was at I met up with some girl like in 2015. This is in my BMW driving across the country days.
Yeah, say the name of the book for the listeners.
How to Manage Your Girlfriend's White Guilt and Other Horrifying Tales of Rich White Liberals.
I love it.
Available on Amazon. Like we were having a great time. We met up in Minneapolis because she was like on some research grant. I was a degenerate comedian.
Typical white girl.
Don't get me started. But that was a very specific subset I was working with. 4 years
of school, so I don't have to go to work.
Yeah, Harvard. She was a delight. We're like having this conversation and like we're having a good time. We're at Mall of America. We got food, exploring Minneapolis, and like we're just talking. She's like, "So what are your politics?" And
I like that straight out.
Yeah. Came out of nowhere and like hit me with it. I'm just like, what? And I'm like, what? And I just stopped her. I'm like, what are you trying to figure out about me?
Yeah, I would be like, I'm into anal.
Right, anal are my politics. That is my, I vote anal. I vote anal. Vote anal. I've never been. Yeah. I think I did it once. And it was by accident. It was an older woman.
Did it hurt you when you put it in your?
I need to talk about my trauma. I don't know, man. It's dark and like the type of girl that I
was she like super duper liberal?
Yeah, and she's why I wrote my book. She's literally I wrote it. Yeah, she's literally
dedicated to Pam or whatever.
Yeah, Leslie. Yeah.
Thank
Hope you're happy. No, like just the just she wanted me to feel more worse about myself than I did because of my skin color. That was her whole thing. She's like, well, you have systemic racism working on, and due to the industrial, what it is?
Oh, so she was more of a victim than you were.
Right. And she was confused that I didn't look at myself that way.
And it's always, not to cast aspersions and make bigoted statements, but it's always, well-to-do white women, liberal women, who are more upset than the victim. Right? 100%. In this story, technically you're the victim, even though you don't feel like it.
Right.
In her mind, you're the victim.
Yeah.
But she's more upset than you.
Yeah. And I paid for dinner, so how much of a fucking victim was I? You know what I mean? Like, where's your white privilege start in my wallet?
Where's your white guilt when the check came?
Yeah. Right here on this Amex card that's maxed out. Okay, like what the fuck? Yeah.
And I paid for dinner.
It's wild. It's fucking wild. And she like just didn't get it continually, and that's where I realized that I had to like really do some math when. And you know what it was? It was never like New York girls, really. It was girls from Ohio who moved to New York and had never met a black person before, probably, or only read about this.
Yeah. Well, when you grow up with black people, you don't condescend to them. Like people in New York, it's not like, oh, poor you for being black. It's just, another guy and you happen to be black.
Exactly. Yeah, we're on the 3 train.
It's not like a rare sight to see black people.
Exactly. And you know what? And
you realize they're not all victims. They're just working like everybody else.
Most of the country isn't like that. Yeah. There are some, trailer trash, hood ghettos in the Midwest where white people and black people interact more than these girls have interacted.
I've had that opinion before that. Like rednecks and inner city black people have way more in common than they think.
Oh yeah,
they all hate the government.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
They don't snitch.
Yep.
They like guns. They like bikes and cars.
And Jesus.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Jesus. They like to drink and get high.
Yeah.
All these. Yeah. They believe in Jesus. They're really the same people.
Yeah.
Like I feel like if they just sat around and got drunk and high together.
Right.
For an afternoon, it would be like, oh, I get it.
And in a lot of places they do, and that's what's wild, But the narrative right now with all this strife in the country doesn't focus on the majority of this country, which is just people who are very brown, white, and black together in the same communities. But New York and LA, poor people do not interact with affluent people, and that's right.
Yeah, they just sit on the subway together. I mean, that is one of the things that does seem to get lost in this. Like, I feel like a lot of this racial division would. I'm just thinking like Martin Luther King, like back in the '60s during the Civil Rights Movement. Martin Luther King, the Kennedy brothers. They were for the working class and poor people, and it didn't matter what color you were. They kind of encompassed both. That's why they were able to get the working white vote
and
the black. Exactly.
When you start talking about poor people,
no one wants
allegedly.
Right. Yeah, you can talk about helping a race, but if you have to talk about helping poor people, they don't like that.
No, because they'll watch the game like, okay, some civil rights, okay,
remind them how they're getting fucked. We don't want that.
Right. No,
we want them fighting each other so we can take the money. That's really what's going on. I mean. But that's the thing. Like back then, they had the message of tending to the poor and the working class, and that encompasses both sides. Whereas now it's like Black Lives Matter, Blue Lives Matter. It's like, dude, they're both under assault. Like, shouldn't you be? They're both working class people. Shouldn't you be? By and large, caring about all their issues, not just selectively deciding. Asian hate's the big problem this month.
Right.
It's like, how about you stop attacking innocent people? Period.
Right. And then also looking at the problem that half of those attacks were also black men. It was like black men and white men were doing like a buddy cop movie against Asians. Statistically, they were doing Lethal Weapon 4, and it was just like, but then it's just only white people, and we don't look at these issues on a broader level and how people actually interact with each other.
That was my thing about policing. I mean, obviously it needs reform.
Yeah.
But the majority of these inner city police departments are people of color working in them, and the mayors.
Yeah.
People of color. So it's I don't think, like I said, it's just bad policing.
Yeah.
And it disproportionately reflects poor people because poor people don't have lawyers.
But again,
if poor people had lawyers,
right.
then it would be the arrest statistics would be the same.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's a lot easier to get somebody arrested and convicted if they have no representation.
100%. And like if you watch enough cops, it's like there's just as many like hillbillies,
oh my god, those were the best.
Like that. Yeah.
Were you a big Cops fan growing up? I was.
The first season was awesome. It was like a documentary.
Oh, dude, I mean like. 80% of the people arrested no shirt on, man or woman. Man or woman. And you're right. It was always some hillbilly in his own his own yard bleeding.
Right.
What happened? No, I got into a knife fight with my neighbor.
But if this country
into a knife fight with your neighbor,
exactly, yeah.
You know how it is.
With plastic knives. But yeah. But if that was the narrative where it was like poor rednecks and black people being persecuted by the police, that narrative would have been like, oh, shut this shit down. Like,
of course not.
You know what I mean? But keeping it in this one,
right? Because I mean, you have the biggest sponsors of the war on drugs, which I think does more to oppress people of color in this country than any policy. Yeah. But most of their funding most of the funding to the Partnership for Drug Free America comes from pharmaceutical companies.
Yeah.
Private corrections companies. When you privatize prisons, of course, you're going to want prison populations high. So like there's a whole. It's like guns, dude. Most people believe something like 80% of people believe there should be a federal registration, but it doesn't get passed because the money's in selling guns without any restrictions. It's just the manufacturers supporting this kind of thing.
And this is nothing new, but again, like people are just like, like you could lay out all these arguments to people, and they're just like. Yeah, I don't know.
What are you gonna do?
All cops are bad, or
it's a lot easier to truncate it into a soundbite. That's what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, people are complaining about all the money we're spending on this, that, and the other thing. Do you know that the Department of Defense? I just read this. We'll get into the news later, but I wasn't going to talk about this, but this one is apropos to our conversation. The Department of Defense, for 62 consecutive years, has seen an increase in its budget.
Right.
No part of the government has seen 62 consecutive years, and this year they asked for $807 billion, and Congress just approved $849 billion. Why? because
they wanted the upward trend, right?
Lobbyists wanted more. So the Department of Defense didn't even ask for that much. They got 42 billion more than they wanted.
You guys are doing a good job. Take a little walk around the cash.
Like usually, like people, like even the Department of Defense inflated its budget and got a bigger number than it inflated.
Right.
Like they're like, shit, we only need 720. We're going to have 140 billion. We don't know what to do with.
But I get it. Right. but
whatever.
But
meanwhile, the entire education department has like a $28 billion budget.
Right, exactly. Or cancel this. Or like,
a rounding error to this.
Some 68-year-old actor said something bad. Let's cancel him. Like versus, like what? Like
John Wayne, who's been dead for 40 years.
Yeah.
Hey, did you hear he was racist?
Right.
He was born in 1902. I was sure he was racist.
100.
Because he was contemporary for his time.
I saw every movie he was in.
You know
I didn't need to take a guess.
Who else was racist? Aristotle.
Right.
Anyone born before 1970, and most likely has some racist undertones in their raising.
People have their categories, and it's like, if you were born in the same era as my grandmother, I assume like you're a piece of shit.
A lot of people, exactly. A lot of people act like young people, it's millennials and Gen Z, act like act as if they were born in 1850, they would have been abolitionists and digging the underground railroad. It's like no way.
No,
even if you thought it was wrong, you would shut the fuck up because you'd be in the cell next to him.
Yeah, exactly. They're not trying to. No.
Yeah, there's a reason why most of Germany went along with Hitler.
That's right. Fear. I don't understand how people don't see themselves right, or even like this rich white liberal woman crusade right now where they're trying to smash the patriarchy and shit. And it's like
the patriarchy from which they benefit.
Yeah, because like back in slave times, they weren't upstairs pattering their nose. Look, they may not have been holding the whip and shit, but they were certainly watching as their husband.
Exactly. They were living in the manor
with the spot. You know what I mean? Like they were there.
They weren't doing the dishes.
Right, 100%.
It wasn't like, well, I'll do that. I'll go out into the field, let him free.
Yeah,
I didn't see a single white woman doing that.
And guess what? All the girls that were activists, like in our early 30s and 20s and shit, like now they have a mortgage and kids. They're probably going to show up at fewer and fewer protests. I feel like their priorities are changing as they gentrify the neighborhoods they're trying to save.
That's why I think a lot of these protests during the pandemic went crazy, because they all started out, on both sides. I mean, even fucking January 6th didn't turn into a riot until the end.
Right.
But when you have people out of work for 2.5 years and nothing but time on their hands, I mean, what do you think is going to happen?
Oh, of course, right.
It's like gang violence goes up in cities that get rid of after school programs. It's like if these kids aren't, playing basketball or football, they're going to be shooting each other. If you're not at work, you're going to go to a protest and break into a fucking Ralph's and steal the turkeys. I feel like it's just what's
we were all sitting at home when Minneapolis was in flames. We're like, man, that kind of looked fun. People are like,
something to do. I'll get out there.
They got to get out the house, man. Shit, exactly. You know what I mean?
It's a reason to leave the house.
It's wild. Although Minneapolis, I went there on that. Yeah, I was in Minneapolis.
Yeah, what's your favorite white city?
Favorite white city is probably Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Tallest white women in all the land.
Really?
And
Milwaukee's fun. It must be the cheese and shit.
I hate cheese.
You hate all cheese?
It's just, I do.
Duval.
I don't know. It just fucking.
You like white women? You don't like cheese? I mean, that's how you get them.
I know.
You don't know this? You get some shredded cheese.
I am single. Perhaps that is part of the issue. Perhaps. I don't know. It's just like to me it was always exotic, because I know like a lot of like rich people, they want to go to like Thailand and like these, like that's not exotic to me. I'm just I'm a nigga in Thailand. You know what I mean? I'm not like, they're not looking at me like, oh, American, like come on in. They're just like,
you're not a young Lenny Kravitz in Thailand. It's like, oh look.
Yeah, I feel like I should be at
see
work
a black
there.
American and they think poor.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. If I go back to Africa, they're like, where have you been? Get back to work. Like I'm just missing.
Because they're more overtly racist in other countries, dude. When I went to Thailand, you walk past all the clubs, and the ones that played hip hop, they just had signs outside that said black music. that was the hip hop club. There was like black music.
Right.
Because that was a translation from Thai to English.
Well, that's the other, again, going back to Stop Asian Hate, like Asians don't particularly love brown people or black people in this country, okay? India has a $240 billion a year skin whitening industry, okay? Well, they don't like color.
I mean, let's not forget, in LA alone, dude, the riots, the Koreans versus the black guys, was a big thing.
They were ready, because like that shit deployed in a matter of seconds when they were up rooftops with like M16.
Well, I love the Koreans had guns too.
They were like, this didn't seem like they're like, oh, we better respond to this. They were like waiting for their.
We'll police this ourselves. I didn't know Koreans were that tough until they fucking broke out.
I had a Korean friend growing up, so I knew. His dad.
But you forget.
His dad constantly had a slipper in his
North
hand.
Korea, South Korea, right? You forget. Like, as an American, you all just think, all Asian people must be Chinese. And,
right. Well, I don't know about that, but I'm kidding. No, I feel like his dad was like, I always thought his dad was like a North Korean defecting general or something, because that man was a menace. They are an intense people.
They beat each other.
Yeah, it was a lot of.
Another thing that cultures share: beating your children.
Yeah.
Asians and black people share kicking the shit out of their children.
If we just align our shared horrible
all
thing,
beat our children.
Like don't talk about your pain. Suppress that shit. Like violently beat those who are disobedient. Like that's
right. Don't be sad. Only feel anger.
Yeah.
That's the only appropriate response to an emotional problem.
We just need a reset, man. I'm just sick. Everyone's narrative just sucks, man. It's just like no one, like very few people come at me with like a novel point of view where I'm like, oh, that's interesting. It's just like you're coming at me with this like preconceived, like I shouldn't be able to checkbox somebody.
That's right. If you know one position,
right.
You can guess every other one.
Are you anti-science? I'm like, okay, boom. I know all of your beliefs down the bottom. I shouldn't be able to do that.
That's what I hate most because it makes everyone less interesting.
Yes.
It's like so boring. It's like, oh, come on. Like, if I know that, if you start talking like that, it's like, well, then this conversation's over because I know all of your other thoughts.
100%.
I'm not going to learn anything new from you or anything interesting because I know what you're going to say next.
Right. And on dating profiles, like I put moderate for the most part is because like they demand you like to reveal your politics.
Which is bullshit. They make you do that
horrible,
now.
man. It's weird. And then like, girls are like, so how moderate are you? And I'm just like, just ask what you mean.
I got a MAGA hat.
Yeah, maybe I make Trump again. He was a businessman. Trump's a businessman. We got to bring the country back. And then like their heads explode. When I'm like, I don't know. I think like guns are cool. I think my grandma had a house in upstate New York in the 1930s. A black woman from Harlem. So like she was heavily fucking armed. And I grew up around guns. She's like, well, guns are bad. I'm like, for the one black family in 1930s upstate New York, no, that's their fucking lifeline. Yeah. And then they're like, oh, I never thought about that. It's just like everyone.
But it's also it also should be so simple as hey, ever shot a gun? It's fun.
Yeah,
like that. Yeah, I get you.
Totally.
They shouldn't have assault rifles out there, but like. Guns are fun.
Yes,
they should.
You can hold both positions, right?
Yeah, you can have two thoughts at once.
Yeah, you can not want mass shootings and also enjoy skeet shooting.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's like one or the other.
Clay or people, it's different thing.
Do you like the police or black people? It's
right.
Like, well, a lot of police are black people.
Half my family. My little brother's a state trooper.
Exactly. Where do the black cops stand on this?
Right. Exactly. Oh, just go fuck them. And again, all these dating profiles, it's like ACAB.
Every black cop is all of a sudden Uncle Tom.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
It's a guy with a job, man.
You're trying to pay some bills. Like what the fuck? Like. The alternative is doing what my dad did, which was just nothing but be illegal, My dad just chose illegal. And I'm like, all right. Which is interesting because my father was in jail for 30 years.
What did he do? What kind of business did he
it was like armed robbery. It was, you got
armed robbery.
It was a whole bunch. I never really asked.
Was he a stick-up boy, like robbing drug dealers?
He was a man of notoriety. Okay. And he got out recently. Like we've been like rebuilding our relationship.
How long was his longest stretch?
He did 26 years.
26? Did he kill a guy?
I never asked.
Although, how do you get 26 years?
It's the Rockefeller laws.
Third strike?
So if you have any back in the 80s, like if you had like these
third strike and he was out.
Yeah, I mean he probably needed to go to prison, but the
he got 25 to life.
He was complicated man.
26 years.
But then he violated parole and went back for 4, and he just got out during COVID, and my mom didn't tell me he was getting out.
Okay. And he found you on the internet or something?
No. My mom was in my life. It wasn't like in the movies where you put like your hand on a plexiglass window and a stinger. Right, exactly. We didn't put our nipples together and then a single teardrop drops down. But no, yeah, exactly. But no, like there was like a big visiting room. I went to see him. My mom brought me to see him like every month until I was 18, where I just got tired of it. And it wasn't because I was mad at him. I was just like, I want to go
to prison every weekend.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I didn't do anything. Why the fuck am I here?
Why am I here?
Right, exactly. But
depressing for me too.
So like he was very much a part of my life, and then so when he got out, my mom, who is just like a waspy black woman who I
love that.
Well, we were bougie Negroes, we came from Antigua and Barbados, and like they made a lot of money and shit. We had brownstones until we were niggas about it and lost half of them. But we
during the 2008 crisis.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. No, this shit happened in the 80s when they were just fools. So I don't know. She didn't tell me about him getting out until like 3 days before he was going to show up at the house. And then, we got into it because I was just like, man, you need to respect it. You've been gone, man. I tried to like Will Smith him, but like it didn't work because he's 6'4" and like large. And he was just like looking at me like,
he's hardened from prison.
Yeah. And
like, showing up in your
showed up like Don Johnson. And like, hey, look, pal, let's get one thing straight about how it's going to go around here. It's just like, my dad was like, the fuck are you talking about? So we had a riff for a while, but we've kind of come back together. How
is that rebuilding a relationship with your dad after 26 years?
It is. You know what it is? It's like
how do you even start that?
We're the same person.
What are you, a Bills fan? Like, how do you get
kind of right? Yeah. Well, we're car fans, and like before my dad, went to prison, like the photos I have of him were just like he was just me. He was just like doing this in front of BMWs in the 80s and shit, and just like
So you start with something in common,
right? Yeah, exactly. Both white suits, right? Exactly. I actually don't know if my father ever.
I'm sure he would.
I don't know. He was.
Was he like a Black Panther militant type of guy?
Nah, he's just fucking good-looking Puerto Rican black guy in the Harlem in the '80s, just cruising around in Ducatis and just. You know,
I'm sure he had some white women on him then.
Yeah, he's a wild dude. But we've just kind of found the things that are that keep us that we have in common, and now it's just like, all right, I guess I have a dad now.
So now is he in his 60s?
He is.
So how it's like, what's he doing? 26 years in, like, what do you do when you get out?
Right.
How do you rebuild a life?
Yeah.
Like, what's he doing?
He's always been a really resourceful guy, and they have
armed robberies.
He just robs people.
Robbing?
He just back to robbing people in the streets. He just works doing kind of like rehab for people who work in that who have been through that process and stuff. And there's government programs.
I never know how you restart your life after something like that.
Yeah, but that was the thing.
It's hard to restart my life in comedy.
I know, right? Exactly.
It was hard
2
to
years
change
off.
careers. I'm struggling now.
Right.
I couldn't imagine getting out of prison.
It's
with
fucking wild.
with a fucking
yes.
26 years of time on my record.
He was always like a really driven dude. So like whenever I would visit him, he would have like project, like he would have like patents for shit. Like he would like invent shit. Like he was a very smart, resourceful guy. So and he understands like, I think when you go through that learning process, you're able to kind of like apply that to like things that you should apply them to. But you have to go through hell to kind of visit those things. But I don't know. My family in general has always been complicated because they just like have broken off.
Some more than others, but especially when you have a dad.
Are you good with your parent? Like, what's your thing?
Yeah, I mean, I'm great with my mom's side of the family. I haven't spoken to my dad in probably how old am I? 39, so 15 years.
Oh wow.
Just because I'd moved, I'd come back from college and he was being difficult with the family. It's like, well, it's like, Dad, I'm grown. I don't have to.
Yeah.
I don't have. I'm worried about starting out my own life.
Right.
So I haven't spoken to him in a while, but. I don't feel bad. I don't feel like I grew up with it. I knew my dad growing up, so I'm not like And my mom did raise us as a single mother after I was like 11 or 12, but it wasn't like some of my friends who have no idea who their father is, no idea where they came from, no identity from that.
Yeah.
You
were able to make a choice.
Yeah, it was my choice at 24. It wasn't his choice when I was 9.
Exactly.
Which has a lot more impact.
And that's
on
fair.
You.
I mean, it's just so weird how some people force us, or there are ideas that force us to hold on to like family or relationships within that you're just like,
oh, it's blood. It's like, blood is killing me, man.
Yeah, right.
Unfortunately,
blood can have AIDS in it.
Exactly.
Right.
Luckily, I have some friends who are closer than some of my toxic family, so I'm going to cut that out.
Right.
You don't, and it's like you say, it's a lot of learning about yourself. Like, all right, I'm already having enough trouble with my stuff. Mm-hmm. I don't need to add on. This old shit that I'm getting resolved.
Right.
I put that behind me. I can't keep having that pulling me back when I'm trying to move forward.
Right. And certain families have that, like, well, it's like you said, like, oh, it's family. You gotta like do no matter what. You gotta. It's like, no, I don't. And like that's been killing us for like generations probably because we don't cut out the Looney Tunes
holding
people.
You back for fucking ever.
But you have to analyze it. And in my situation, I recognize that I was dealing with my own stuff in life that was like some of it valid, but not all of it justified. Angling at them. So now I'm just trying to be like, as I get older. Because, you just think about, like, 10, 20, 15 years or whenever, people pass away and stuff. You're like, all right, let me, like, not hate that moment. Let me hate that moment less by trying to, like, be something.
I don't think I judge myself for not, for that kind of thing.
Oh, no, there's family members I let die. And was
I mean, that's the thing. It really does come down to what's meaningful for you and what's going to move you forward. Right? You just start realizing, like, some of it you got to let go, and some of it you can work on. So it's like there's nothing I can change about that.
Yeah.
That's just what that's what it was.
Yeah.
I could either keep feeling guilty or bad or bringing it up or whatever, or I could just say that was that moment in time, and I wish it had gone differently, but now I got to move on.
Right.
You kind of just have to cut loose on some of it. Some of it you'd have to work through, but some of it you're like, hey, I can't do anything about that. That's just that sucked.
Yeah.
That one sucked. That time sucked. That moment sucked. That period 100%. Of my life was difficult, and that's what it was. But you can't just keep.
Right.
Blaming yourself or somebody else for it.
Right, totally. But again, and it goes back to that sort of like this new post-COVID world that we have with people where like I've lost a lot of like dude friends and, in casual, female relationships and stuff have really like gone in opposite directions. But like with male friends who I've known for a long time, like, friends I've known for like 10, 15, 20 years, it's just weird when you're like, some of this high school behavior that is still like present now, like it ain't as funny anymore. And like there's like two very good friends where I was just like, I'm not mad at you. I'm not like harboring like a fuck you. It's just kind of like, all right, I guess
that kind of happened in my early 30s after I got into my relationship with my ex-fiance.
Yeah.
There was a crew of friends like that, and some of us stayed in touch, some of us didn't, because it was fun for what it was. But looking back now, it's like, yeah, man, we were all more annoying together than we are apart. Like
Yeah.
we like, and it was a fun time together, but it wasn't healthy.
Right,
fun.
right.
You know, like
Or
we had
sustainable for
we
yourself,
enjoyed
right.
it, yeah, but like. So we're all in much better places now, you know, and obviously it ended horribly.
Yeah.
but it's for the better because, you know, some of them had families. I started a different career. We're all
Right.
doing the things that we
Right.
wanted to be doing that together we were holding each other back from because we were just getting fucked up and
Very
and
fucking
fooling
true.
around and
Very
you know
fucking true.
and you know doing catty high school bullshit.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
You know, being childish about it.
Right. Yeah, it's wild.
And look, I'm
I
still
just-
childish. I'm a comedian.
Yeah, exactly, but it's direct, right.
but now I'm like, all right, I don't have a wife or kids to worry about, so I can do this.
Totally, yeah, I'm allowed.
I set up my life so I can
Right.
behave like this. Whereas I was behaving like this when my life wasn't set up like that.
100%,
Like,
yeah.
like I can't do that.
But
not fair to them or me.
That's the fun reward, though. This like, yeah, I've set this up. Like
Yeah.
I'm allowed to now, and that was the thing. I was I was seeing this girl on and off for like 5 years, and like, you know, at a year and a half, she gave me the email like a year and a half ago.
What's the email?
It was, you know what it was? It
Thinking
was
about
titled, it was titled a difficult email, and then I saw I didn't read it. I saw the first sentence in paragraphs, and I was just like,
Was she dumping you over email?
yeah.
Oh, but you guys were dating at the time.
But that was the thing. We've been
On and off for 5 years. He sent you a fucking email.
Yeah.
I mean, listen. That's cold hearted because listen. I'm a little. I could be a little bit emotionally distant. I can be,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I feel like, you know, less than 3 dates, I can just ghost you.
Yes.
You know, 3 weeks, it's a text messages.
Fair.
You know, anything over 3 weeks, it's a sit down. And then it's a phone call. And after 3 months, you got to go to dinner and do the breakup that way.
She did me like that.
Over 5 years, an email. There's got to be at least a sit down. And I know you're a traveling man. She could have called you up. The emails of you know.
Yeah, it sucked.
A text, hey, can I call you? Text.
Yeah, but she did me like that once before. I had to sit down the second
she just marked up her first first
she
email.
rolled me. She rolled over.
She redlined it in MS Word and just sent you the
She had
revision.
rollover points. So I was like, whatever. I didn't respond to it because I was just like,
You saw that one coming? Yeah. Too long, didn't read?
yeah, yeah, man. And like much of it was valid because I would just straight up leave town, like not tell her and be gone for like 6 months and stuff. So like we just
For 6 months?
You know, but again, we weren't dating. We were just regularly. It was very intense and connected. My point is though, is that now that that's formally done, I can 100%, like you were saying, dedicate myself to just being this like, okay, post 35, pursuing the dream thing where it's like a lot more directed. There's a lot less tolerance for off ramps and bullshit, and that takes the form of people as well, where you're like,
That's what makes it makes it harder being in a relationship as you get older because it's not the quote unquote set in your ways. It's just you know what you will and will not tolerate.
Yeah.
You know, and there's
It's
also
beautiful.
And there's also things about yourself that you are willing to work on and other things you aren't. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like at some level, some things that's just the way I am.
Yeah.
You know, like
yeah,
you know, I was dating a girl years ago. Mm-hmm. I first got single. She wasn't a big pot smoker, and I smoke weed.
Yeah.
You know, but I functioned with it. It's fine.
Yeah.
But it bothered her. I'm like, well, if it bothers you, then leave. So I'm not like I'm not making you smoke.
Right.
We're in my apartment.
Right.
I want to get high and watch this movie.
Yeah.
You know, like you got to have your fucking
wanna
red
get
wine.
stoned and watch Under
I
Siege
don't,
2.
I don't like red wine. I'm not giving you shit for drinking it.
knock it over. Fuck that shit. Out.
Just slap it
I
out.
want it out.
Just
What did I
spray,
say?
just spraying her with a wet water bottle like a cat. No more.
What is he doing? He's crazy. He's toxic. I mean, that
Like
would
some
be,
things, like you know, like I said, but there's other things you want to compromise. Like, oh, I'm not communicative enough. All right, I'll make sure I text you, and you know, every morning and every night, or something, whatever.
Right.
Like there's things I'm willing to work on, and other things I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
no, exactly. Where I'm just like, and you learn.
over that.
It's like that's not. Yeah, I'm unable to, and I don't want to. I could, but to what end? And there's a lot now that like, and yeah, I'm like in a more mature relationshipy. I'm not mature. It's a relationshipy. I don't know. It's a fucking nightmare. So anyway, I can just dedicate myself full time to comedy, which
But you're not dating since you've been in. How long have you been in LA now?
a month.
A month. Any
Yeah, I
action?
mean, I met another girl that I've just known for years, and they just like people. That's what I'm saying. Like I've just had this orbit of like casual relationships that were like just sort of like, oh, I'm around, you're here, you're cool, whatever.
That happens a lot, man. I feel like whenever I'm single, I'll have. Like if I'm single for a long enough period of time, because I'll date over the last 10 years since I got out of my engagement / marriage, whatever. Mm. I've probably long-term dated like 3 girls. So, they're all like years apart.
Yeah.
And in those long stretches, because I've been in and out of being single, like girls will come back around. You know, like I feel like I've had
Which I
one
think is
girl.
fine.
One girl like had a boyfriend, then they broke up, and I saw her again casually.
Yeah.
And then she met another guy, and they got engaged. And 3 years after that, they got disengaged.
Right.
And I saw her again.
Disengaged.
I'm like
Natasha, disengage, please.
I'm like, the carousel, like I'm still riding the ride, and then sometimes they get back on, and then they get back off. And they get back on. Somehow I'm sitting on the roller coaster, and every now and then people I know come back on. Hey,
yeah, fine.
You from before.
That's cool.
You're back.
Because you know what? Because we're not orbiting the star that is this idea of like now of like marriage and kids and shit. We're orbiting into something. We've got some drive or some vision of how the future can be. And until that's a reality, can we just be planets that like when we're aligned, and it doesn't have to be this like over thought out or dramatic. Like, here's what I need this now. This is what do you or did Twitter tell you that? Like, do you really like?
Well, how old are the girls you dating?
Now, I mean, I've only dated 58-year-olds, but mainly.
What's like your average dating age range?
Definitely older. I mean, I think at least my age.
Okay.
I don't.
See, I'm surprised because that's the kind of thing I feel like.
Maybe that's why I'm fucking up. Maybe I should entertain like a.
Because I have a theory. I feel like, and there's like a personal thing that I've actually kept to when I, whenever I'm single. Now that after I get out of that relationship, I don't like dating girls between the age of 27 and 34. Because I feel like that's when society is sort of
hopped up.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you got to, all their friends getting married, get engaged, you got to settle down.
Yeah.
31, so you got to start thinking about kids by then, or else you're going to run out of time.
Yeah.
But girls younger than 28, 27, they're not even thinking about it.
So
and girls over 31, they thought about it, and they're like, fuck it. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But that 4 or 5 year gap, right there, but the 28 to 32 kind of thing, like they're in that headspace where it's now or never.
Yeah.
And it might not even be their desire.
Yeah.
It's just, like you said, societal pressure, Twitter, fucking,
it is.
Cosmo, whatever the fuck else.
So the last time I hung out with this girl that I was very much in love with, I really she was the kind of girl that like understood my rage about a lot of things. I mean, I really fucked it up, but we were hanging out.
It's not you, it's me this time.
Yeah. It was finally, but it was too late. We're watching Back to the Future 2. We're like tearing it up. We're like making fun of it. We're having a great time.
That's great.
But then she stops and then she's just like, it was when the vaccine came out, and she's just like, oh yeah, I was reading an article that said the vaccine apparently doesn't affect pregnancy.
What?
And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah.
I haven't used a condom with you yet.
Right.
You started panicking. Like, oh fuck.
Right.
But it was like, is she pulling the plug on me here?
But she was sussing it out. She was like, but wouldn't have that direct conversation, and it was just like, we see each other like so infrequent. It was such a strange, difficult situation. But I felt like she was on some timeline, versus like, hey, this makes sense for us right now in this moment, kind of thing, Yeah. And I was working like a pretty decent, remote corporate work from home job and shit, and like had health insurance and was making, pretty good money. And I'm like, so it like the tide was kind of like, oh wow. But if I accepted that, would I have still been able to pursue this in the way that I would have needed to pursue it? You know what I mean?
Probably not.
I don't know. It sucks, but if it was just like if she could have just been on her own time frame, rather than what I felt was an externally placed upon her one.
Well, that's something that's important to me now. I tell all the women I date and the last 2 women I've dated, I don't want kids, and they didn't want them either.
Yeah.
I'm 39. The ship hasn't sailed for me, but I can say confidently I don't want them, and I don't want them now. I could change my mind, obviously, as a man.
Sure.
It's a luxury that men have that women don't.
Yeah.
As we get older, but they have to be okay with that. Like, I don't want them coming in expecting kids from me. Yeah. Ever. Like, it's not going to happen for me. Yeah. If it does, it's a bonus. But if you want to rock with me, you assume you're going to rock with me without kids. Right. Assume you down that lifestyle.
Right. People, like on dating apps, like, so do you want kids? I'm like, I feel like that's the natural byproduct of our relationship and great sex. Like, if things were so fine and dandy that we were somewhere in Fiji having, me just completed
No, I'd still have an abortion. No. I'm going. We're gonna turn this good vacation into a bummer.
No way. All right. I just feel like it's a weird thing to like plan. I'm sure that sounds immature to all the women watching this. I'm sure of which there are many. It's just like,
it is kind of weird that they do it in reverse though. Like, oh, I want to have kids, so let me find a man. It's like, wait a minute.
Right. And same thing for a
Shouldn't you find a
long-term
man that's worth having kids with?
Right.
Like, shouldn't you flip that around a little bit?
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, I'm in my 30s. I need to settle down so I can have my kids. It's like, well,
it's the same thing
won't
for
you want a
like
good guy to raise them with you?
Yeah, like I'm looking for a long-term relationship. I'm looking for this. I feel like that is the byproduct of just doing your shit right. We're like, oh wow, I've been hanging out with this awesome chick for like a year and a half.
I'm
like,
looking to find someone I love.
Versus like,
you know,
looking for an
if you
objective.
just said that, it's like, I'm looking to find someone I love, and then you fall in love, you'll stay with that person if you keep staying in love.
Right.
You know, there's no, instead of saying I want to find a life partner, it's like, Jesus Christ,
Yeah, I mean,
get a cellmate. You do what your father did. Commit crime.
Commit crime. That's the way. That's the way to find companionship.
You get a permanent relationship with a guy.
you fucking. That's the way to go, people. Okay. No, that's what I'm saying. Like they look for these fucking. Everyone's just taking the fun out of what it is to live. They want They want confirmed outcomes rather than the shit you need to do to reach them. You know, and it's just like Can we get a drink first before I can tell you whether or not I want to be in a long-term relationship?
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. Right? It's like you said, they're looking for the ever after, but not realizing like you got to keep that person around. You got to do what you got to be the person you were when you met them, so they stick around.
Yeah,
you know, like
you be interesting, and I will be in a place where I want.
That's why girls I date, I demand they have a passion.
Yeah.
Outside of something I'm interested in, you know, have a job you're into, be into painting or this or that, something, because I like comedy. I'm gonna go do that. Yeah, I don't need you around. That's my thing. Yeah, you know, and then you do your thing, and then we'll come. Oh,
nurses, doctors, and cops.
Yeah, exactly. How'd your thing go? Yeah, teachers too. They got a lot of time off.
Let's go to Bali.
A lot of teachers. Yeah. So like that always works, you know.
Yeah.
But if you're too into me, it's like if this is like I'm
not going to solve I'm not going to solve like how boring life is for you.
Also, if you're too into me, you have bad taste.
Right, totally.
Your judgment is off.
Suspect.
Yeah, exactly. You should be. Like, I'm weary of me.
You want this?
I'm weary of me. You know, like,
I'll tell you what did happen though. What fucked me was the depressed, brooding late 20s artist thing. That the jig is up in your late 30s. When you don't have a permanent address at 36, women are like, okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like
I went from having a bunch of money to not having any, so it's a weird, you know. But now I'm doing that. But you know, But now I'm on stage, that gives me some identity.
Yeah,
my identity. Yeah, but it's weird that like I'm almost doing it like I'm almost like living in my 20s and my 40s. I feel like I'm doing it reverse. Like I spent
bro. You look good. You fooled me. Shit. You fooled me. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping.
I'd blow you. Easy, dude.
Hey. Getting out of money's coronas right now.
Don't get weird, you know?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. How is I want to talk to you about Nashville because
oh yes, we were talking about that right before you got in here. So you were living in Nashville before here.
Yeah. So I was in my parents. So I was dealing with my father. Thank you, brother.
Yep.
And you know, I mean, regardless, I just needed to not be at. Well, I had some like health shit. I forgot.
It's also just fun to go to Nashville. Fucking
yeah, Nashville was cool. But I was living at my parents' place in upstate New York, and
it was during the pandy.
Yeah, mainly through the pandemic, and then like I bounced around a little bit. I had like an emergency appendectomy.
Oh shit!
And then
I'm glad you're healthy.
Next summer, yeah. Well, and then I got Lyme disease, and then
my god, dude!
It was and like looking back, I'm like, oh,
all this during the pandemic too. It's like Jesus Christ.
I ain't fucking COVID.
I know you got sick with everything but COVID.
You know why? Because I had to go fucking outside and be in the woods like a jackass, which I don't like doing. But because all the bars are closed, they're like, oh, go for a walk in the woods and get Lyme disease. It's a fucking nightmare. But anyway, so I was like, let me get out of here. I randomly moved to Nashville, and let me say this.
Yeah, how'd you end up in Nashville? How'd you pick that?
It just seemed it was like, you know, like here's a not LA city, like here's here's a not New York, like there's a comedy scene here.
If I could have, I would have moved to Arizona. But I just moved.
Oh,
here.
Really?
I love Phoenix. I love Phoenix.
I haven't really spent much time there. I went there once. It seems like it's for sure a party town.
Phoenix is great.
Strangest comedy scene I've ever been a part of. There are some really solid, awesome comics there. John Hickok, DeHerm, Tyler Buckingham.
Shout out.
Good guys.
Don't even know you, but shout out.
Good guys. But it was like such a segregated scene, both racially and gender, where like the female comic, and I'm sure much of it was justified. I couldn't imagine being a female comic in Tennessee or Nashville, where it was probably
they're not funny.
Many of them were. No, many of them suck. Yeah. You know who you are. You know who you are.
Why there are other
I was giving you guys gold, and then they wouldn't respond. But it was a bummer, and I really went down there with this like optimism of like, because I love the brotherhood of comedy. You know?
There is a community there.
I love like being a drifter. You're the lone gunman. You show up into town and you prove you're funny. They'll bring you in the fall.
Hey, I'm here. I'm from out of town. I want you to give me some spots, and you do a spot, and you do well. And we'll bring you here tomorrow night. Yeah,
did that, and it was like And I wasn't throwing any weight around. It wasn't like, hey, I'm from New York. I was just like, let me do the mic. Let me do the, like, I'll just show up, be funny, boom. But there was such a wall there. And it was depressing. So it sucked. And Nashville was more racist than I thought. I thought I could just be like,
really?
I thought I could just be like a sarcastic, light-skinned black guy there. And
it's become such a, like I said, a magnet for
rich white people.
Yeah,
they're the ones who are like
it's kind of like Austin. Like all of a sudden, kind of more hip, but not as woke as they seem.
Again, going back to those woke fucking people, they're always like, I'm leaving America. Fuck it, let's go move to like Denmark.
Go, man?
Oh yeah, exactly. Like it's great for you. Like, what do you think of black people? Europe, no one fucking likes us in Europe. You know what I mean? You know how many fucking black people there are in Denmark? All right, it's like
I bet Mexico wouldn't take black refugees from America.
No, Mexicans don't like black people. I learned that in LA.
We're taking 2 million of them a year.
Yeah, I learned that in LA. Mexicans do not like black people, man. Just like, holy.
Well, listen, you know how that
many
is.
Don't.
You know how that is. Someone's got to be the low man on the totem pole. And,
right. Exactly.
And Mexico's like, hey, we're whiter than them.
Yeah.
And that's how
they see themselves.
That's what they're saying to white people. Hey, we're whiter than that.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, look.
Yeah, but they think they're Ponce de Leon and shit. It's just like, you ain't no Ponce de Leon, man. Give my churro. And it's like
you're in the cast of Apocalypto. You ain't white. You ain't white.
even within Latin cultures, man. It's
I'm Latin. Man.
Mexico,
my
Puerto
dad
Rico,
hates
Dominican
Puerto Rican people.
Right. That's where's your dad from? What's your
Dominican Republic?
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
I wouldn't say hate him. Very, very distrusting of Puerto Rican people.
100%.
I mean, he literally told me.
My dad was a piece of shit. But
so was mine. But I joke about it on stage. I was like, "There's two types." My dad told me as a kid, "There's two types of people you never trust." Like, all right, Dad, who? He goes, Puerto Ricans and women.
Right. Very open, loving man.
That kind of tells you the kind of guy my dad was. The shit he filled my head with.
Right. Okay, that sounds good.
I've been battling those back in therapy for 26 years now.
That's what we all are, man. We pick up from these just like narratives that these people give us. We're like,
even when he said it to me, I was like, "That's ridiculous."
Yeah.
I was like, "What are you talking about?"
But I
was like 8 years old. I was like, "That's ridiculous."
Y'all are wild.
You live in a Puerto Rican neighborhood with mom. Bullshit.
My stepdad, he was a corrections officer.
Okay.
Because my mom is a fucking psychopath. She was he was a staunch black guy, drill sergeant, corrections officer.
There's a lot of that too.
So,
that's another thing about the black community. A lot of them in the service, a lot of them cops. Like if you know. It's almost like in the black community, either you have an absentee dad or a really, really disciplinarian dad. You know,
100%.
Like either you're a military brat or your dad disappeared.
My stepdad, he's just like, you need a job with benefits. He always talked like that. He had the highest voice, was like the biggest dude. You need a job. Mike Tyson you? Kinda. He was just he was such a passionate man, had so many points of view. We were trying to get him to go on vacation, just to like Florida or something. He goes, why would I want to go somewhere I ain't never been? And I was
that's the reason.
That's a good point.
In a weird way, it makes sense. It's like, you know, it could be whack down there. I know what it's like here. Why would I go there when I like it here?
It was so logical. I was like,
you go places to go somewhere you've never been. Yeah. But if you like where you are, why would you leave?
I left the room.
If you like where you are, why would I leave? It's like, I never thought about it like that. Yeah, because I don't like where I am. Right, you're actually happy. I'm not happy here, so I'm going to go. Yeah. You stay here.
Passionate.
Why would I go somewhere I ain't never been?
Yeah. It blows my mind.
I'm going to use that.
Please, man. It's just like it's fucking wild, bro. It's fucking wild. So anyway,
so Nashville. I mean, we were talking about white women, white bachelorette party, capital of the world.
Except my apartment building overlooked the nexus of that shit. So
what's the name of that strip? What the fuck?
What the hell was that street? It was like at 18th Avenue South or something.
Yeah.
And then like.
It's like a mini fucking New Orleans because they were just hanging out on the street.
It was like fucking, and it was just like it just it lost its charm. But in your travels,
did you run through a lot of white girls while you were there?
No, man, it was pretty nice. No, I don't know. It was
Minneapolis. I was killing them. Fucking
the Midwest. I like the Midwest. The Midwest rules. The Midwest is a great place for fucking for everything. Their racism is measured by the cold. You know, it's tempered. But in the South, it's hot racism you can't work with. But like cold racism, I think is fine. But anyway, what city in your like comedy travels? Like, what's like a city where you're like, maybe not live here, but like, where's a place you could do comedy that wasn't like New York or LA for like a long period of time?
Phoenix is great.
Really?
Yeah, I love Phoenix. Dallas, Fort Worth, I like a lot.
Never been there.
And then I mean, every show I've done in Florida has been great.
I love Florida. I don't understand.
Yeah, people trash it, but I love Florida.
Tampa Bay or Miami? Or?
I do Tampa, Sarasota, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm. I did Miami once.
Yeah. Those are places I'd like.
But there's the Gulf Coast and the East Coast, and they're both a little different, but they're both fucking wonderful.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
So before we get out of here, you got your book, and I want to give our listeners some tips for white women. and also I want white women to hear what's the one thing you wish white women would stop doing.
Stop.
I want you to give a piece of advice to white women and a piece of advice to the listeners about dating white women.
Hi.
If you can. I don't want to put you on the spot.
Culpepper. I'm an expert on white women. And I'd like you to know, when navigating your interracial romance, there's one thing that you can do. To have a beautiful biracial baby that looks just like me. No, it's just like, don't condescend and patronize and assume that anyone needs your help. It's just like, I know a lot of these people come from a good place, but like all these interactions I have now are the most like condescending, patronizing, like more racist than anything I experienced in Nashville, for example. Because like if they were to call me the N-word there, it was just like, at least it was to my face. I was like, okay, I see where you stand. Yeah. But if some white girl is just like, so you're very smart for a black guy, or like you're so articulate. You're so articulate, and it's just like.
Yeah. Go home. I can't believe you've experienced racism. It's like, yeah, because I'm still black.
Yeah, exactly. Like, just because I'm sitting here with you don't mean it's fucking, like, I got the force field around me and it's
correct me if I'm wrong, they pat themselves on the back a little bit too much.
Right, exactly.
For like caring about a black man. It's like, oh, look, I'm on your side, black. Look how good of a white woman I am. I date black guys.
Right.
It's like, wait a minute.
Right.
You're not a hero for dating out of your race.
Totally. Self-congratulatory.
You're not Rosa Parks for dating a black guy.
Right, exactly.
You're just a size queen.
Yeah. Right, exactly. Right. And then also this narrative that like all black people like hate cops and like like when our neighborhoods are shitty, like that's what we like. It's just like no, like a Pew Research studies show that like most black communities want more better policing. Yeah, better policing. Right, more policing and better policing. We just don't want to be shot. But that doesn't mean like we want like a lesbian with a clipboard to patrol the streets and like that's our fucking security team for Harlem. It's like I don't want a social worker coming to a crackhead call because like if my single mom in Harlem is like dealing with trouble, I want a cop with a billy club to crack the crackhead upside his head. You drag him out. My dad's in jail because of the policies your dad's voted in the first place.
You don't want a liberal white woman marching through Harlem with a pussy hat on and a sign.
No, we're good. Conspicuously lacking in that.
We need real policing.
Yeah, people are at work when you're.
We don't need the pussy hat brigade for community watch.
It's bro. So just like just relax. We got it. Black people have been through a lot.
I love it. So where can people find you?
You can follow me on TikTok at Duval Culpepper. That's my username on YouTube and TikTok. And my book again, How to Manage Your Girlfriend's White Guilt. It's available on Amazon.
Check it out. It's a good stocking stuffer for you. you white liberal women out there.
For the holidays.
If you did a white woman, black or white, you being the black or white, the man or the woman.
Yeah.
If you're dating a white woman, get her the book.
I like black women too. Y'all just yell a lot, and Latina. So I'm
I assume black women are into you. Is it?
They just yell at me a lot. You know what it is? It's just like for me.
Well, I bet sometimes you're not black enough for them. Does that happen?
Hell yeah! Oh yeah! I'm talking about.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah. I'm talking about Star Trek Enterprise season 2.
Light skinned black. I think, yeah, come on.
It's over.
I mean, you got a sweater on.
Niggas don't wear sweaters. I'm cold. All right. My father didn't. He's a tough man. All right.
I bet you would get attacked with a shit like that. Oh, look at you. Oh, well-educated.
Always. I had my hands in my pockets once at Tracy Towers at a community function when I was 11 years old. I had my hands in my pockets. They're like, nigga got his hands in his pocket. I think he's white. I'm like, what? What? And I try to watch Sailor Moon.
What does that have to do? You guys, black people don't use pockets.
No. But I'm a scar, but I love my family, though. I love you guys very much.
Appreciate you doing this, brother. Good catching up, man.
Salud, brother.
All right, guys, that's it for this episode. We'll be back next week. Obviously, same time, same channel. You guys subscribe, and if you don't, tell your fucking friends about it. At Ready Set Blow Podcast on Instagram, on YouTube, and then, of course, check me out on any other podcast platform. We love you guys. Peace.
Right on.